Cash and digital currency, debit cards and credit cards, and the money supply, Section A. This video and the next is, as the title suggests, about cash and digital currency, etc. I dare say that the greatest part of these videos should be fairly obvious, but I thought I'd do a couple of videos on the topics all the same, just in case. There might be a few bits of information that are new to some people listening, and I will, of course, be giving my views on these matters as we proceed. So let's get underway. Cash refers to the physical forms of currency, the paper currency, the metal coins in circulation, the ones that we use every day in stores and such like. So this includes all the banknotes and all the coins of whatever denomination. Paper currency isn't a new phenomenon. Banknotes or promissory notes have been around an awfully long time. According to Wikipedia, they were first developed during the Tang and Song dynasties in China starting in the 7th century. They were introduced to Europe during the 13th century, but the 17th century is the time period when paper currency began to really become predominant in Europe. More's the pity. I would take tea, silks and all manner of other products as exports from China over banknotes any time. Banknotes are sometimes called paper money, but this is incorrect. They should be called paper currency. There's a very big difference between money and currency. Most people use the term money and currency more or less interchangeably, but technically they are different and so shouldn't really be confused. Perhaps you might think I'm being pedantic, but in my opinion, it's important to use terms correctly, especially in this instance. I guarantee that when most people on the planet understand the difference between money and currency, we will live in a far, far better world. I eagerly wait for that time to come. Precious metals like gold and silver are generally considered as being money, real money. In days gone by, gold and silver were used as a medium of exchange in commerce or trade. Indeed, they've been used as money for the millennia. However, it's not always convenient or safe to carry around amounts of gold and silver. Banknotes go some way towards solving this issue, at least in terms of their bulk. Needless to say perhaps, but banknotes weigh a lot less than precious metals. So in terms of portability, they have that advantage over gold or silver. The upshot is that banknotes have been used as a medium of exchange in commerce or trade in place of gold and silver. Be that as it may, there is one very important caveat when considering paper currencies. They must be redeemable. Redeemability means the ability to convert paper currency to specie. What does this mean in layman terms? Well, put in simple everyday terms, this means that someone in possession of a banknote should be able to go into a bank and exchange the banknote, getting whatever amount of gold is denoted by the sum on the banknote in return. This redeemability or convertibility is known as sound money system, or the gold standard. The gold standard is the name given to the backing of a currency with gold. Backing a currency with gold gives the currency a value that it would otherwise not have. After all, currencies don't have any real intrinsic value. In and of themselves, they aren't worth much. They are just paper, pretty printed pieces of paper, or with regard to coins, shiny bits of coloured metal. With a gold standard, a currency can become money, or rather, I should say, a currency can assume the status of money. It will never be money because paper currency lacks the all-important store of value. So, currencies are not money. They might masquerade as money, but the truth is they're not money and never will be. Currencies are fake money, false money, phony money, funny money, or whatever terms you want to use. They pretend to be money, but they aren't actually money. Even with a gold standard, a currency is still only a currency. It's not real money and it never will be real money, and it shouldn't be considered as being real money. Anyway, because these banknotes were exchangeable for gold, the bearer of the note could use them as if they were gold. The expression "as good as gold" has often been used in respect of currencies because currencies which are backed by gold can be used in trade to buy products as if they were gold. Rafi Farber of the Endgame Investor on YouTube refers to paper currencies and the like as money substitutes. And he's right in saying this, but they can only be substitutes provided that there is a gold standard in place, and even then there is the caveat to consider. Much as I like and admire Rafi Farber, I think it's important to use words as accurately as possible. Words matter. By the way, the currencies in use nowadays are not backed by gold and haven't been ever since the Nixon shock of 1971, when Nixon ended the convertibility of the dollar. They are then what is known as fiat currencies. A fiat currency is a currency that is brought into being by dint of a government decree. So basically the government passes a law which makes that currency legal tender in that country. It can then be used to buy goods and services, etc. According to Investopedia, open quotes, the term fiat is a Latin word that is often translated as it shall be or let it be done, end quotes. As I hope I've made clear, in order for paper currency to have some value and some legitimacy, there needs to be this redeemable or convertible facility between the paper currency and real money, because paper currencies don't have any value in and of themselves. Without this convertibility, paper currencies rely simply on trust. I continue to be amazed how trusting people have been and continue to be. There will come a time, sometime in the not too distant future, I hope, that the vast majority of people realise that they were too trusting and their trust was misplaced. I'm aware that I've laboured the point a little, but the difference between money and currency is incredibly important. It might seem like a trivial thing, but I can assure you it isn't. It most certainly is not inconsequential. Moving on. A further distinction needs to be made between cash and any digital currency in any bank or on any computer system. So what I'm talking about here are the figures you see when you log into an online account, or the figures you see when you go to an ATM to check up on your balance, or the figures you see on a monthly bank statement. It's important to bear in mind that it's only in relatively recent times that we've had digital currency. Prior to the digital age, cash was all that was available. The actual amount of cash in the economy nowadays is only about 5%. The other 95% is digital. This means that cash is no longer king. I'll come back to this issue in the next video though. As something of an interesting aside, I believe that I'm right in saying that prior to the digital revolution, because cash was the only thing used, this is the reason for there being many more bank heists back then compared to nowadays. Also, with the digital revolution and in accord with fractional reserve banking, banks no longer hold much cash in their vaults. So what do you imagine might occur in the event of a financial crisis? A financial crisis can cause severe problems in an economy. People get panicked. Panics can precipitate bank runs. Fearing bank failures, people go to the bank to withdraw the currency in their accounts. But any bank run would probably be very short-lived. Only those people at the front of the queue will end up getting currency out, and even then they'd only be able to be withdrawing a relatively small amount, not least because the bank will probably close its doors and announce a bank holiday. I've split this topic into 2 videos, so there's another one to follow. Wise up and rise up.